Am I good? Okay. I can hear myself. How you doing? We do a live show. That's how it is. You gotta kind of be ready those times. But we here now, baby. Happy St. Patrick's Day. How y'all doing out there? I'm Emos the Witness. Glad to be back. I am your host. And welcome back to the Field Show. As you know by now, what the fuck I look like. Episode 37. And we rolling. We getting it. We getting there, y'all. We're growing. As a new hot, fresh show, a new political perspective coming to you live from the Midwest. I am your host, Emos the Witness. I am downtown at 120 East Market Street. Good midweek to everybody out there trying to hustle, trying to get through the week, trying to get through their day. Starting off this morning right. Like I said, I am your host, Emos the Witness, and welcome back to the Field Show. Episode 37, y'all. You get you downtown. I'm at 120 East Market Street every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. You know, sometimes we start off late on that CPT time. That's how we do it. But again, like you catch me on YouTube as well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like me, subscribe, please. Like my page, like my channel. Again, as this show grows, we'll be going through a lot of topics. Like I said, I want to dig into a lot of political news, a lot of international news, a lot of sports, everything around across the board. But mainly, we are a political show. We are a show that we are here to hold our leaders accountable. We're here to speak truth to power. We're here to expose and dig into articles you may not even see that much. You know, I started this show about late last year with a mindset of being a new voice for America, to be a witness. I am your host again, Emos the Witness, and I want you guys to join me so that we're all witnesses, that we dive into what we see in this world, and we call bullshit when we see it, and we hold truth to power. We try to find out who's on our side. We're tired of the media bias. We see it now plain and clearly. We see censorship amongst us. We've witnessed a violation of our constitutional values and our principles, and we've seen our laws be trampled upon over the last, really for the last the last century. You know, just what you're seeing now, though, in my opinion, is a culmination. What you're seeing is a media run amok. What you're seeing are political leaders who are pretty much unabashedly just pushing their own agenda amongst us, right? We vote these people into power and they do what they want to do. We've known that for years and for decades, but now it's just more like out the box, more prevalent. It's in your face. So who are the forces, who are the powers that be going to fight back against these uncheckers, you know? And that's where I feel like I'm doing my part. That's where I feel like Emos the Witness is. Like I said, hit that subscribe button. You like me on YouTube. You can catch me downtown live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. at 120 East Market Street. And we're going to dig into all these things. We're going to dig into the news of the day, various topics and various issues that all affect us all. But also we're going to dig into the past. We're going to dig into investigations that are ongoing and where it comes to the Trump administration. Where it comes to potential investigations regarding the Biden administration and what's currently ongoing with the Russian investigation and where that all lies. And some of the laws that are being changed on the state and local level with regards to the election of 2020 that makes for a better, that provides us more confidence in upcoming elections, right? We need that. So we need to address the past, and that's what we aim to do at Emos the Witness. We aim to be just pretty much like a lighthouse, a bastion of truth, focused on what's right and what's wrong with America and how we can make it better. You know, some of the points that I made in the past is that, I worry about the current leadership that we have, and even the current leadership we have had in the past, and how that blends and how that kind of goes in with the youth of America and where we're headed from an innovation standpoint. Do we have the right leadership to carry us forward into that new age? We have a lot of competition internationally, and you look at our education, you look at where we are economically, with the debt and with, just kind of where we are with a divided America, and can we compete at this stage? Are we behind because of COVID, because of the pandemic? There's just so much to talk about. There's so many issues that affect our children long term, and there's so many issues that are all tied together. And as your host and as your guide, I aim those and put those puzzle pieces together. So I want to dig into the news, some things that we kind of continued from last show, but also some new topics. And, kind of like, I don't want to jump around too much, but I want to really touch on immigration, and I want to touch on the media and the media bias and how they backtrack and how they choose to backtrack and how they choose to attack. I mean, it's very powerful entity, and they're probably the most powerful gang in the city, besides the intelligence agencies, besides the CIA and FBI and whatnot. That media is powerful, man. Power of the pen, ink by the barrel. You think about that. How much the news is delivered to you, and how much it reaches your table, and how much it affects you and influences you. You don't even know it indirectly how it does. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that and how media backtracks and how they attack and how they can slay you in a matter of days or hours. And you'll just be a figment of your imagination. Be just a dot in history, just a moment in time. But before I get into all that, I want to talk a little bit about COVID, because as you know, COVID is apparently is here to stay. I mean, like I said, I read different articles all the time, and I'm constantly scanning the news, and I came across an article the other day where it said that we may have to get this shot on an annual basis, like this COVID boost. And it's like, to me, I just feel like sometimes I feel like we're jumping too far ahead with the news on COVID, with the information that's provided, at one moment we're talking about shots that we need to take annually or bi-weekly or semi-annually, and then we have other vaccines that are out that are causing blood clots, and you have countries that are shutting down the use of certain medicines. So we're not currently all the way there, it seems, with the vaccine and its safety, in my opinion, and that's where a lot of people's concerns are, even health officials, even nurses and doctors. Not just ordinary American citizens, pregnant women. Shit, me, black man. We're all shook from this. We don't know, but some people are taking it, and they're nice and brave souls, and I respect and I appreciate them. But you gotta do what's best for you, and also Biden. I read that Biden is also gonna expose or provide American citizens under 45 access to the vaccine. So there's more accessibility to it if you choose to take it, but it's not mandatory, which is great. That's how I feel. I feel you should offer it. You should definitely offer it, but it should be your right to choose to take it or not. It should be your freedom, right? Your decision, not the country's to force it on you. But hey, you may have to require some kind of force, right? I mean, for example, your job may require it. We may require you to have the vaccine for you. That's the worry. A lot of doctors out there, they may, a lot of medical students, your requirement to get into the hospital might be for you to take the vaccine. The flu shots are a requirement. My wife had to take the flu shot, in order for her to practice. So, a lot of decisions got to be made out there, you guys. And I just wish you guys the best. But here's the latest article from Market Watch. Excuse me. Germany and France become the latest countries to halt use of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine over blood clot concerns. So yeah, this is something to look out for, you guys. Germany and France on Monday joined a fast-growing list of countries suspending the use of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine over reports of blood clots as the Anglo-Swedish drug company moved to defend its shot. So, it's a battle of vaccines for monetary purposes. So, a lot of these companies could be rushing the technology, could be rushing the process. And right now, blood clots are a serious concern when it comes to this vaccine, so be mindful. The German Health Administration said the government was acting in accordance with a recommendation of the Paul Ehrlich Institute, the country's national vaccine regulator, which has called for further investigation of the cases. Let's go into some details about what's it doing. So after this quote here from the health ministry, says, after news reports of thrombosis of the cerebral veins in connection with the vaccine in Germany and Europe, the PEI considers further investigations to be necessary. So France stopped after that. France said will stop. Other countries are Italy and Romania, and Austria. Austria actually has halted the use of dosage from a single but different batch. So that's still kind of going. The Dutch government said Sunday that they won't be using the vaccine until at least March 29th. As a precaution, we can't allow any doubts about the vaccine. We have to make sure everything is right, so it is wise to pause for now. And that's what it's about, you guys. We need to be better. We need to make sure we're doing this for the safety of, if this is a political game or not, I don't know. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure we're doing this on behalf of the citizens and everything is safe. So you err on the side of caution. But again, my theory is you gotta stay vigilant, you gotta stay alert, you gotta stay living your life. You know? So get out there, open the schools, open the bars, open the restaurants, but just follow the guidelines. And stay healthy, eat healthy. And we have to protect those who are at risk, most vulnerable, which is, the elderly, and those with, with low immune systems and out of shape and things like that. But at the same time, we need to be safe with these vaccines and be educated. And we also need to go out here and live our lives. And that's my thought on the vaccine and this whole pandemic as we approach the spring and summer months. We're opening up, you guys. I mean, you look at spring break, man. When you see people getting arrested, when you see the peanuts back at Five Guys, when you see, like, I don't know, man. I mean, like, I want to see a cannonball this summer. I want to see some kids jumping in that pool, man. I want to see a lot of things going on this summer, man, that reflect the past. There's too much fear out here, too much nonsense out here. So let's open up, America. Let's live our lives and let's fight back. That's what we're known for. This country is very vigilant. And why, in my opinion? Because we have a great melting pot. We really do. And we have a great document called the Constitution, and we got to make sure we protect it, you guys. That's what part of this Emos to Win This show is all about. Like I said, hit that like, subscribe button. Catch me downtown, 120 East Market Street, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at Wave 1 Media. Come down and get you a show. We're live, baby. We're doing this live. We're off the cuff, off the dome. You don't get that much anywhere nowadays. We're not pre-recorded. We don't edit. We just try to get better. So when you see this show down the line, like, okay, I remember when that dude was stuttering. Remember that episode 5, he shit on himself in front of everybody in that big glass window? But he's bounced back. He's bounced back, and he's still here. But that was an amazing show, wasn't it? But yeah, I'm here. I'm still here, though. We're going to delete that show in about 2 weeks, by the way. You better catch it while you can. It won't be on Spotify too long. But anyway, yeah, like I said, we have a great document, we have a great melting pot in America. And it's leading to my immigration topic later on, on this show, which is, Biden is jacking up immigration, in my opinion. So this article, this memo from Unbiased America, which I like these. They actually expose a lot when it comes to news information regards to Biden. And I came across this. Biden administration announced it will no longer enforce Trump rule barring immigrants who would be dependent on government welfare. This is from Kevin Ryan of Unbiased America. Now, like I said, one of the main reasons why I voted for Trump in 2016 as a black man, 45 years old, married with children, like I said, I'm going to go a little bit further. College graduate, worked in blue collar, white collar industries, worked on the docks, worked in logistics, and now I'm an entrepreneur now. And so I say all that because I feel like I have, just like any other American, I feel like I have a say as more than anybody else. I feel like I've traveled around this country as well. I lived in Detroit, I lived in Phoenix, born in the Midwest. So I've touched various parts of America. I experienced various parts of America, various issues, coming from a background myself, being raised by grandparents, just having all those experiences and then being married with children and kind of evolving from a young teenager, young adult to a middle-aged family man. Your values change. Your issues that you used to champion, you don't champion anymore. The liberal views you used to have, they kind of get tempered down a little bit. You get more mature in those thoughts. You think about your family, you think about your children long term and what their future look like. And so my values, they evolved over time. The same story as a black male. You raised in a household that's mostly Democratic. You kind of vote with the group thing. But like I said, over time, definitely living in Detroit, I've seen a lot of economic strife, a lot of pain. Working in Phoenix, I witnessed the union, the docks, the ports, and how those things operate in industries. You just feel like, so I feel like I have the experience to talk about this country and its leadership, as you do too. So like I said, you need to come out here and get you a show, or get you a blog, or get you a post, or get you a conversation going, get you a group. Push back. For the meantime, though, hit that like, subscribe button. I'm Emos the Witness. You get you downtown every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live from 10 to 11 a.m. And you also like me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Website's coming soon. Look out for that as well. It's going to be very dynamic. emostowitness.com. But like I said, we're here to expose hypocrisy. We're here to push back against, leaders and from all industries who want to influence us directly or indirectly, but for the good or for the bad.
I'd go a bit deeper on that. The Biden announces it will no longer enforce, because I don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go into that here right now, actually. So that's as I stated, one of the reasons why I voted for Trump in 2016 was because of immigration policy and a lot of his other policies. Definitely making America first, peace through strength, and reciprocal trade. But immigration-wise, one thing that struck me most importantly was, I'm a supporter of merit-based immigration at this point. Not so much as bringing in cheap labor, and not so much as bringing in labor or immigrants who are going to be instantly dependent on the government for assistance. And that's what this article is about. The Trump administration enforced a rule where in order to be an immigrant, in order to be a migrant, you shouldn't be dependent on the government for 12 months at a time or at all. It should be someone who's able to provide value to our country. So, in 2019, the Department of Homeland Security expanded the definition of people who could be denied entry to include those who will primarily depend on the government sources for their income and more than 12 months out of the first 3 years here. The government income sources include benefits such as Medicaid, food stamps, and the federal housing assistance. Now, the Trump administration, they argued that it was in the best interest of United States citizens to ensure immigrants could be self-sufficient. That's a wonderful thing. That's what we should want. That our immigrants, when they come into the United States, that they are self-sufficient. Now, of course, we can provide various assistance, but at this point in time, this isn't Ellis Island anymore. This isn't the 1920s. This is a new age where not only is America pretty much enriched, the country, the world as a whole is becoming better economically. And there's a lot of countries that provide a lot of value and could provide a lot of value to this country. And instead of sending us your poor, your weak, your criminals, we want a better mix of people coming to this country. Definitely is going to drain on our resources. I definitely would want that. So we need to encourage other countries to take care of their people, help build those countries up. Instead of those people send us their worst. Send us your best. These countries, we need to start sharing each other's ideas. It's a problem for me to see, as still countries competing for these vaccines, charging prices, or certain countries get certain vaccines. When things like this are so dynamic and so big, and these pandemics, you need to be a group. You need to come together. That's when you come together. That's when it's not so much of a capitalistic situation. It's a lot of gray area. So the Biden administration, they came back and they reversed that rule. We said, I'm not going to enforce that rule. Now, even though the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 in Trump's favor, that this is legal. And not only that, they said not only is it legal, while we review this, why it's under appeal by the lower courts, we're going to continue this practice. Well, we're going to allow migrants come through based on merit. But if you are dependent on the government, if you will be, we don't want you. We're going to enforce that rule, and that's better for America long term. And that was the Trump administration's policy, which was to seal the border, to tamp down on illegal immigration, not immigration, illegal. There's a difference. And by doing so, you would increase wages. You increase the price of labor, which is good for everybody's pockets. You open up jobs for African Americans and Hispanics that are already here. And as you'll see a gradual increase in wages. So those are two different philosophies when it comes to immigration on both the Democrats and the Republican side that it's very stark, but you have to make a decision on that. It seems like common sense that you would want people to come in the country the right way through a process. Now, as far as the dreamers and getting to the back of the line, I think that ship is already sailed. I think you kind of let that. You just gotta clean that up and going forward, enforce the law correctly. Kind of get rid of executive orders in regards to immigration. Get stuff back into Congress where we have real laws passed. Because you understand when you just let people in and you provide them all these government resources, they remember who's providing them. They look up and say, "Oh, it's the Democrats." And we're just letting these people come in unfettered. They remember that and they vote Democrat when it comes down to it. And we have absentee ballots when you let illegals vote during midterms. See how it all ties together? And then that's how power is consolidated. That's how you look up, you see every Democrat has won in every house. And it's just like, is that fair? So that's something we got to look at. And this is another issue. This is something we got to keep in mind that, we're all being distracted by stimulus and COVID payments and all that. There's laws being passed or maneuvers being made under the cloak of darkness that you barely hear about. So like I said, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 in Trump's favor, and why it's still being appealed. Well, that's out the window now because the Biden administration said we're not going to enforce the rule. And in this last paragraph, they admitted, they go, the timing of today's announcement is being criticized by those who say it further signals that any and all migrants will be allowed into the country under Biden. And even though the so-called public charge rule didn't apply to those seeking refugee status, the White House admits that its permissive attitude on migration issues is likely to blame for the record surge occurring at the border. So like I said, this is Biden's immigration disaster. You already got caught lying about the kids in cages. Like, you guys don't understand the history of kids in cages. Let's just get this straight. It started under the Obama administration. It continued in the Trump administration, but the administration was lambasted and attacked with this cruel process that wasn't even started by them. Not only that, if you understand the process when it comes to these kids in these cages and these kids being separated by their parents or whatnot, most of these kids were brought up or carried or taken across the border through a process with what they call mules. I think mules, which is pretty much child trafficking, or these parents actually selling their kids or giving their kids away for a profit to be taken across the border. So it's not always this family of four, this sob story. It's not as it appears, but it's always portrayed that way to make one side look worse than the other. So, and it's, like I said, it's sad because, like I said, at the end of the day, in my opinion, you're playing on the heartstrings of Americans. You're playing with America's money, and their future, all for the sake of political power, or for the sake of power. And that's the part I want to stop. That's the part I want to expose. Now, you can expose it, and you can, as an American citizen, make your own decision. Hey, I still like it that way. I like my leader still. I like him. I like his hair. But at least you know a little bit more about him. At least you know a little bit more than just vote for somebody based on the way they talk or the way they act. But what they stand for, that's what matters. So here's another issue where immigration, where you have kids in cages, you have these migrants being flooded across the border unfettered now, all for votes, for future votes. You'll see an increase in crime, in my opinion. People are gonna look up and say, okay, look, we can come to America and live free for 12 months, get everything we need, housing, food, everything. They're gonna keep coming.
It's very hard to find more news and more articles on the subject. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing some research and I'm trying to find more about it. It just seems like news companies are kind of making an effort not to promote it as much. CNN has an article on it, but it's I pulled it up right here. It's just a little it's
just very interesting.
It's coming from a different perspective from them, obviously.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. This part I want to expose is that when you have these kind of topics that are hot button, they kind of hide it or they don't talk about it, so they put something else in your face to distract you. So which has been, to me, been the same as the last few weeks. And now, if you notice, and we're going to jump into this next topic, is the intelligence agency. This is more about the 2020 election, but the U.S. intelligence agencies say Russia and Iran were mostly involved in 2020 election interference. So like this strange how this comes out now, in the midst of, Biden, Biden is catching heat for a lot of things recently. How he hasn't spoken in 100 days. Again, this immigration issue under the cloak of darkness. That, and then you look at the latest media issue regarding Georgia, how they backtracked regarding, what Trump has said down in regarding elections, trying to enforce or coax the Secretary of State to, to investigate further, dig and find information. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I want to talk about. So now it's Russia. Russia's back again, and now it's Iran, and now with his buddy Iran's here. It's just really strange to me. It's just, we're still attacking Trump, and we're still saying Russia interfered in our elections. It just seems like it's another distraction, another issue to further weaken any future Trump run for president, any pro-Trump Republican running for office. And when I look up and I think about Senator Feinstein having a spy in her office for years, a Chinese spy, rather, I'm sorry. You think about Fang, the infiltration. I talked about that back in the past, how we had another Chinese spy in Fang, influencing Congressman, I forgot his name. Oh, geez, I'll have to look him up real quick. But anyway, let me look him up here in a second. I'll look him real quick. Then you have the consulate down in Houston, which it was per Trump administration. They said it was a dinner spy. They had to shut that down. You look at all the things China has done with the intelligence, the trade war, the COVID. It just seems very strange to me that the Biden administration wants to ignore that country and boom, we're pointing right back at Russia and now Iran as main influences in our 2020 election. Strange. And some of the other additional cohorts, was also, Lebanon, Hezbollah, Cuba, Venezuela. Okay, those are other main culprits. And then you come down this article, I want to read this paragraph here. It says, however, the authors of the report noted a dissenting opinion from the senior intelligence officer tasked with mid to long-term strategic analysis on cyber issues at the National Intelligence Council. The minority view, according to the report, is that China took at least some steps to undermine President Trump's re-election chances, primarily through social media and official public statements and media. Now, that's interference. And now, this one, though, is the minority view. But how is it the minority view when we know, we saw in 2020, we saw, the past 4 years, Trump is that we're at a trade war with China. A virus was released a year ago by China. You mean tell me that shit influenced the 2020 election? You tell me that Russia and Iran did? They were quiet as hell the last 4 years. Trump had them on lock. Look. Trump had North Korea on lock. Still has North Korea on lock. Had peace going through the Middle East with the Abraham Accords, peace accords. Withdrawing our troops from Afghanistan. The first president to set foot on North Korea. We were winning that trade war with China. Had them on the ropes with the vaccine, with the virus. Reciprocal trade with Canada, Mexico. The U.S. trade. I mean, all these various trade deals, sending hard weaponry to Ukraine to Eastern European countries to seal up that tension with Russia along that border. Peace through strength, right? And then we got China here. They couldn't stand Trump. They still can't. I mean, we were thorn in their side. What you want to do? You want to do everything you can to get him out of power. You want to influence the election. So you mean to tell me this article that only a minority view thinks that China has something to do. China had a lot to do with what happened in 2020. So did the media. So did the Democrats, of course, with changing the laws last minute in various key states. Rogue governors enacting draconian laws regarding the COVID. Governors and mayors just deliberately destroying their cities to get one guy out of power. And it's gonna be hell to pay for that. There's gonna be repercussions. There's reviews and there's things like that. Like I said, I have a midterm in a 2024 prediction. Hopefully it comes true. But this just shows you. It just shows you the games they play. It just shows you, what the fuck I look like. I've seen what I've seen with my own eyes, what I witnessed. I've seen these articles. I've seen these actions play out. And now you're gonna try to change history and tell me that Russia and Iran have what did Iran do? They want you to leave them the fuck alone. Trump was like, man, Trump was on their ass too. They're like, man, we're glad they're out of office, but China is the one. Now again, like I said, I'm not against the Chinese people. None of these countries are citizens. I'm for the government. I'm attacking governments. Bad deals and poor leadership, local, nationally, worldly. That's where it lies. I love the Chinese people. Than that, the leadership, the greed. If it smells like a duck, it's a duck. Damn it. So so this is another. There's foreign policy influence in every election. It happens all the time. We do it ourselves to other countries. You mean how many we regime change is our middle name? We are the United Regime Change States of America. That's our name. That's how it's always been. But you look at our previous president, we was on track to have a real peaceful world. And hopefully we still will. And like I said, I'll keep you posted on those foreign policy fronts with Biden and what he wants to do with all these different reviews of different countries and leaving troops and adding troops to Syria. What's going on in the South China Sea. All those things, it could be a hot summer, it could be a peaceful summer, But either way we go, we have a lot to look at. We got to hold them accountable, y'all. We got to hold people, to task. And that includes the media, you guys. That includes big tech. But right now, this article on media as I close out this show. Again, from Unbiased America. This is from March 15th, you guys, a couple days ago. And you guys may have heard about this. I don't know if you guys have or not. But the Washington Post, as you know, was a big enemy or a big, rival of the previous administration. Claimed that Trump pressured a Georgia election official to find fraud and become a national hero. Now, the Washington Post, they issued a major correction on that. Remember that? You guys remember this during the whole post-2020 election fraud issue, investigation review? You remember that? You remember, in Georgia where, we're trying to dig into what happened in that state? That the media came out with an article, a scathing article, the Washington Post. I mean, this is very similar to the dossier. This is very similar to what happened when it came to political and they were releasing of that information. It was like a hit piece on a nuclear level. Like all the publications came out together and just like, boom, yeah, it's true. Secondary source, audio recording. You know what I'm saying? It hits you hard when it comes out like that, doesn't it? It impacts you. You and me like, whoa, that's illegal, or whoa, that's it for me. Clear. I clearly showed them who won the presidency now with that kind of action. Wow, President Trump, you mean to tell me you went to the Secretary of State and said, hey, motherfucker, find this shit, find something, make it stick. That's that'll stop you in your tracks. And then here we go, March 17th or March 15th, you guys. The Washington Post issues a major correction on a story that claimed that Trump pressured a Georgia official to find fraud and become a national hero. Now, what if that came out the next day, like November 21st? Hey, we fucked up. We sorry. That was wrong. That was false. Trump never said that shit. He never did that. Hey, everybody, make sure y'all put that front page now. Don't fuck up. Put it on front page of your publication. Now, don't forget, Hey, can we get some Twitter posts going, like at a consistently, throughout the whole day and night for about a week to show that we messed up on that? It's very important. That affects a lot of people's decision making. So can we make sure everybody knows? Can we get maybe can we like a quick little short press conference with our editorial board, or maybe our president of the Post or something? And can we say something live real quick? Can we do that? We need to. We really need to. This was wrong. Who can we fucking fire? That's how that shit should be going. These retractions need to be more prevalent. Need more exposure to them. Not months later into the next year after we have a new elected president, a whole new Senate, a whole new Congress. You see what I mean? So you look at this article here. This happened back on January 9th, you guys. So here, they even have, what's so great about it is this is a timeline. I want to kind of dig into this, man. Like this is showing to show you, like, look, on January 9th, the Washington Post published a story about the phone call entitled "Find the Fraud." Trump pressured a Georgia election investigator in a separate call. Legal experts say could amount to obstruction. Now, according to this, Trump told Watson to find the fraud and she would be a national hero. Watson is Francis Watson, who is the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger's chief investigator, by the way. Now, the Washington Post said that the source of the story was an individual familiar with the call and spoke on condition of anonymity. Now, because of the sensitivity of the conversation. Now, this is the shit I'm talking about. We can't keep going off of these individuals who are keeping quiet and not, or these secondary sources. We need better evidence in this. And the journalistic integrity of this country has been just horrible the last 4 weeks, the last 4 years, 8 years. We need better from our media. We need to expect better and demand better. And if we can't get it, we have to create new diverse mediums, platforms. That's where you come into play. That's when you come out here and you start your own show, or you start your own website, your own articles, and you dig into you research and you dig into this shit, and you push back. So, like I said, going through this timeline, the story was picked up by all these sources. Remember, a lot of these are all mainstream. They all hate Trump. The New York Times, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Associated Press, PBS, USA Today, Bloomberg, The Hill, CNBC, Forbes, The Slate, CBC. Is it CBC? New York Magazine, The Daily Beast, Fox. Not Fox, but Fox 2. Fuck them too, but Vox with a V. And many other outlets. Now, all those outlets, all at the same time, said, yep, that shit is true. He said all that shit. Now, yeah, see, USA Today said Georgia officials speaking on condition of anonymity, discussed the internal matters, confirmed the details of the call. Really? Now, also confirmed that individual of the matter confirmed that Trump told Watson. See, this is the ABC saying they also had confirmation. So they're all like backing each other up. And then 2 months later, Wall Street Journal reported that an audio recording of the 6-minute phone call was found. It turns out the controversial "find the fraud and you'll be a national hero" quotes attributed to Trump never happened. The recording was discovered in the trash folder of a device belonging to Francis Watson. Why is it in your trash folder, Francis Watson? The lead investigator of the Georgia Secretary of State, Raffensperger. Do you guys remember how important that state was? Key state for the elections. Battleground state like Pennsylvania, like Michigan. All those states have problems. And they still do. Remember the leader? Look at the leadership. Man. It's all here months later. Watson was contacted by a local media shortly afterward of the recording's existence broke. She said that no investigative agency had asked her for the recording, so no one asked me for it. It's not important. I'm not going to just volunteer it. I'm just going to put it in my trash bin. Who are you? I'm sorry. What fucking name is? Oh, I'm just a Secretary of State lead investigator. Don't mind me. The fuck? I've seen pizza delivery boys find tapes and they turn that shit in. You are the lead investigator of a key battleground state investigating an election fraud. And you mean tell me your punk ass can't untrash some shit and say, hey, we found this recording of Trump talking about the investigation with us. I think that's pretty important. I think it's damn important. I'm sorry, but hey. She basically said that, blah, 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 blah. Local media shortly afterwards, where'd she go? I was my part. Yeah, Washington contacted by local media shortly afterwards. She said that no investigative agency had asked her for the recording, but that she wouldn't be surprised if it was requested. Yeah, you wouldn't be surprised. And she wouldn't mind sharing it. Why not divulge it? She also said that this is also key. She also said that she never received any pressure to change the election results from the president's phone call. There you have it. But man, you would think otherwise from those headlines back in January 9th. Now, stunned by the fact that the headlines of the story were proven false, the Washington Post published a new article revealing that the source of the original story had been Jordan Futch, revealing who was Georgia's Deputy Secretary of State. Futch claimed that Washington had briefed him on a phone call with the president. The Post had apparently accepted the second-hand source without confirmation from a recording from actual call participants in the call and without publishing the source's name. The Post news story then goes on once again citing a person familiar with the situation who spoke on conditioned anonymity to describe the internal process, which I guess was Jordan Futch. The Washington Post issued a correction on March 15th, you guys, 2 days ago. And here's the correction. 2 months after the publication of this story, the Georgia Secretary of State released an audio recording of President Donald Trump's December phone call with the state's top election investigator. The recording revealed that the Post misquoted Trump's comments on the call based on information provided by a source. Trump did not tell the investigator to find the fraud or say that she would be a national hero if she did so. Instead, this is where they want to push back a little bit. Instead, Trump urged the investigator to scrutinize ballots in Fulton County, Georgia, asserting she would find dishonesty there. He also told her that she had the most important job in the country right now. The story about the recording can be found here. The headline and text of the story have been corrected to remove quotes misattributed to Trump. I mean, where do you get those quotes from? If you never said them, they're not even recording. They never said them. That's the bias. That's the cheating. That's the scandal. You know, remember, all this shit was pushed under the rug from November 4th all the way to this point. Now, you wonder why people don't have faith in the Biden administration, and they don't want to see too much of his agenda being pushed through because they don't think it's just legitimate. And you want reasons and reasons why? Well, here's one. Let's not to mention all the sworn affidavits that were ignored. All the judges put all the biased cancellations of various lawsuits by biased judges, which is true. A scared Supreme Court who didn't want to touch the topic. That's your fucking job, man. I mean, one of the most important issues of the world of the country is election integrity, voter integrity. You're the highest court in the land. You don't want to touch it. You want to leave it to the biased states who have horrible leaderships like Governor Whitmer and Cuomo, who I haven't even touched Cuomo yet, man. We know Cuomo's about to get the whole Friday freestyle, by the way. Cuomo's getting hit hard on Friday, so y'all look out for that show coming up in a couple days. But and that's what happened in 2020, you guys, in November. And I'm gonna hear Eddie most of when I'm gonna expose all that shit every single time I get on the mic when I get a chance to. So you need to hear it. You need to be informed when it comes to voting in the midterms and coming up on 2024. So I don't want to leave you guys. I want to hold you guys too long. You guys got lunch time to eat. I want to get off the show, and I want to, tell you, that I want to end by saying, there's a lot to be optimistic about, a lot to be glass half full when it comes to this country. So don't get too down. Don't get depressed. We're coming into the spring and summer months, so we're gonna push back. We're gonna get our leadership right. We're gonna get this country back going again. We're stronger than ever. And I want you guys to have a great St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy them 6 feet apart beers. And I'll see you guys on Friday, and I'm out.